9:12 right now. Welcome back to Good Day. We all know how easy it is to fall in love, but how do you stay in love? Here with us now is our relationship expert, Rick Brown. And Rick, you actually just wrote an article. It's coming out in Orlando Magazine this week, and you had a great quote in that article. I want to start off with that. You said, precisely at the point when couples fall out of love, they have the greatest capacity to fall in love. What do you mean by that?
Well, most people, when they fall in love, that's an unconscious process. You have no idea what's happening. And when we fall out of love, what we've actually fallen out of love with is an illusion. Nobody ever marries a real person. We all marry illusions. We marry who we think this person is, who we hope this person is, who we want this person to be, who they better be, but nobody ever marries a real person. And so what happens when we fall out of love is we become disillusioned. Maybe this person isn't who I thought they were. Now, unfortunately, what happens is most people, when that happens, they typically just get busy. They get busy with work, they get busy with kids, they get busy with home, with friends, almost as if to say, if I stay busy long enough, maybe it won't hurt. Maybe I won't miss it. But then they feel more and more and more disconnected from each other.
So how do you reconnect? You said that there are 5 ways to do this, to feel more connected to your partner and then feel as if you're back in love again.
Yeah, one of the things we want to do is actually start getting interested in the person that I'm with. And one of the ways you can do that is to begin to safely communicate. The first thing you do would be to mirror your partner. That is, to really say back to them what they're saying to you. For example, I remember this couple came in to see me, and the wife was saying that she felt so frustrated with their marriage, like they weren't going anywhere. And her husband reacted by saying, okay, so what you want is a divorce. Well,
right.
That's not what she said. And if you could just quiet that down and just simply mirror back her words, that is to say, so you're really feeling frustrated to marriage. Can you say more? And invite her to say more. Then the second piece is if you listen long enough, usually you can go on and validate. That is, to make sense out of what they're saying. You can see where they would say that. That's not crazy to say that. And so you validate your partner. So
repeat back what they're saying to you. Right. Validate their concerns by opening up your mind to say, you know what, this is a possibility. I understand where they're coming from.
That's right. And it may not be how you see it. It may not be what you agree with, but can you see where they could say that? Most of us, if we listen long enough, most of us don't really live with crazy people. Now we may not like
right?
Well, we may not like what they're saying, but most of us don't live with crazy people. If you listen long enough, you'll hear something that makes sense.
And then in turn, it actually leads right on to the next step, because then you start to empathize with your partner, not only for your situation, but for their situation too, and then your situation as a couple together.
That's exactly right. And when you begin to be empathic towards the other person, you begin to build more of a connection with the other person. And you can do that by putting yourself in their shoes and imagining how that might feel to see it that way, and then to express that by saying something like, well, I can imagine now that I think about that, that would leave you feeling very sad or very lonely or very disconnected.
And the next step is to inquire. And is that the step where you actually say to one another, okay, we have managed to figure out what's wrong for both of us. Now let's talk about our solutions.
Well, actually, to inquire with you, what is it that you really do need? Now that I understand it and it makes sense to me, and I can see how you can feel that way, help me with what it is you do need that would help me to meet that need. And you begin to be very specific about that. I'd like you to spend one night a week with me, or I'd like you to spend more time with me, or I'd like you to talk with me when we sit down. Mm-hmm. Tell me what it is you need from me.
The last one is stretch, and what do you mean by that?
Well, that's the hard one, because what your partner's going to be doing is actually inviting you to grow. So by their requesting what they need, they're going to actually pull on you to do something different, to change, if you will. And I would argue that that change is actually going to be good for both of you. It's going to help your partner get what they need, but it's also going to help you grow and become the kind of person that you really were meant to be, somebody who can be all those things, that can be attentive, available, understanding, caring, empathic. So
that's great information. Rick Brown, thank you so much for coming in. We really appreciate it. And that article is coming out in Orlando Magazine this week. We appreciate it so much. Thank you.
Good to be with you again.